King Nikki, and this is a night of horror where I talk horror, commentary, but also other genres and TV shows. Today, I am talking the new horror movie Cuckoo, a movie that was very much giving a cure for wellness for me. Knights, remember to support the channel or die.
Take your best shot. Mother.
If you want to live, you better like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. I had an Impossible Whopper from Burger King yesterday, and they forgot my onions. Literally every bite angered me, and it ruined my day. I don't want to think about it, but I do want to talk Cuckoo. So let's get right into it. Remember when R. Kelly was running around saying he was the Pied Piper of R&B? Well, that was Dan Stevens in Cuckoo, but forgive me, I am getting ahead of myself. Cuckoo is about a teen girl forced to move with her father and his family to a resort. Movies like Cuckoo and Oddity, which I just watched as well, are efforts I can get behind. Creative direction, different, not your run-of-the-mill standard horror fare, horror packaging. But where I really liked Oddity, flawed, but overall I really enjoyed that movie. I didn't walk away feeling the same about Cuckoo. I enjoyed Cuckoo's third act, but I really wasn't feeling the movie until then. With Cuckoo on the direction side, on the visual front, it was very different and unique, but like the tone, everything was there, but the story is pretty standard fare. It just wasn't working for me. I didn't love the first act, mainly because it felt like a dozen horror movies that I have seen before. I wasn't intrigued. I mean, it was giving so many other horror movies. Like, what's that horror movie where Kristen Stewart was a teenager and like her family moves to a new house? It might have just been her dad as well, but also all of those just tropey horrors of like just the dad and the stepmom and the teen angsty, and we're in a new place and something sinister is going on that only the angsty teen knows, and like no one listens. I feel like the movie was also pretty drab. It had no real pulse. And also, for the love of God, can we please stop doing the whole no one believes the protagonist trope? Please. And speaking of tropes, Lord, the angsty teen trope, can we let it die? Which the teen daughter here honestly isn't as obnoxious as most horror movie like angsty teen characters are, but God, it was so on the nose, the whole angsty teen trope in her room listening to the moody music. I literally laughed at that scene like, okay, wait till I drive it home. And even when Dan Stevens calls her at work and she just refuses to listen to him and she hangs up the phone, I was honestly confused as why she was like, well, why you ain't listening? Like, he's trying to warn you, and like, isn't it your job to answer the phone? Like when she walks away and the phone is still ringing and she's just la 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 la. Of course the angsty teen will be defiant and not listen. Also, our lead, Gretchen, played by Hunter Schafer, I didn't latch on to the lead character. It was pretty typical fare as far as characters go. Also, the performance was a bit too calm and subdued for me. I get the intention, but as someone who was pretty bored throughout the first half of the movie, that laid back, subdued performance just didn't work for me. Because I was bored. I felt like nothing was really exciting. Now, what I did appreciate in the subtlety of Hunter Schafer's performance were her facial expressions. Something about her facial expressions, she was killing it. Also, kudos on the consistency of her injuries. I appreciate a horror movie that isn't so focused on keeping the lead girl pretty. I feel like that gets so distracting. Like horror movies in general just aren't consistent with injuries, and also like action movies. One that sticks out for me is in The Collection. When Arkin breaks his arm, or re-breaks is more accurate, he has an already broken arm, he breaks it again to get free, and then like a few scenes later, he's like in a fist fight with the villain. Like, ain't your arm like broke? But even though I wasn't a fan of the Gretchen character, I do like the lead actress. And I feel like it feels like the typical, like, yeah, she's blonde, skinny, pretty white girl, like the typical prototype. But I feel like there's something odd and unique about her. And I mean odd as a compliment. Like, she feels interesting. And I would be here for her in more horror movies. I just wish the Gretchen character was as interesting as Hunter Schafer seems to be. Also, great Dan Stevens performance as the villain, but baby, the accent was atrocious. The accent was atrocious. Like, I'm so sorry. And like, it wasn't Daniel Craig putting on a southern accent atrocious, but it was pretty bad. And it was also inconsistent. I am officially, though, in love with Dan Stevens because I love villainous characters. And he keeps playing those roles very brilliantly. So I am late to the party, but I am now on the Dan Stevens fan bus train. Whatever we own for Dan Stevens, I'm hopping aboard. Okay, he has officially won me over. And the actor who plays Gretchen's father, I won't even try to pronounce his name, but he was the main villain in The Equalizer. I really like that actor. I really enjoyed that actor, but I don't know, I didn't care for the character here. Again, just pretty standard fare. The standard, like, aloof parent, not believing the protagonist. I did get the feeling he was in on things, possibly drugged his wife towards the end, but I wish the character was a little more fleshed out. He ignores Gretchen, seems to favor the younger child, but I don't know, I wasn't satisfied with how they utilized the dad or underutilized the dad in the story, in my opinion, as well as the ex-cop character. I think he was an ex-cop who comes like out of nowhere and helps Gretchen. It truly felt like Gretchen just needed this character because she just wasn't smart enough to piece everything together. Like, why was he even here? He wasn't needed for me. We could have just, why... This was like the opposite of Get Out, right? And that's my issues with this character of the ex-cop, where strangeness was a bit more subtle and there was no real big cause for alarm until there was in Get Out. So you understood why Chris didn't completely piece things together and right away run for the hills. But one thing that hurts Cuckoo for me in adding that character is that it isn't subtle at all. You know full well, off rip, that something is obviously strange and something is obviously wrong and something is obviously sinister, and Gretchen just goes along. Yeah, she fusses a bit and points out, hey, that's a strange way to say that, but she doesn't actually do anything. She yells at her dad and stepmom about something Dan Stevens says, and she's yelling like, why is no one else acknowledging like how weird this is? But then she gets in the car with him and I'm just like, wait, what? Like, I literally was screaming in my head, like, I would never trust him. I would never get into the car with him. So it feels like, why is this other character put in just to, like, because Gretchen isn't smart enough to investigate and piece stuff together on her own, so we have to throw him in? But let me know if I was the only person that saw it like that. It wasn't working for me. I mean, everything was just so blatant and obvious. Like, women keep coming into her job blatantly sick in front of her face, like vomiting. The little sister is sick. Like, everything was just giving warning bells. Nothing gets subtle. Like, bitch, something wrong. We get a great scene where Gretchen is on her bike and she gets attacked. She goes on about life with old girl. They're driving in the car. But I'm like, baby, you were attacked. Do you even care? Like, do you even know who it was? Like, who cares that no one believes you? You know it happened. Who attacked you, girl? Why did they attack you? Like, are you trying to figure anything out? But also, maybe I missed something because, like I said, the first half of the movie, it felt pretty boring. I'll be honest. But also, it felt chaotic as well. I spent the first half being like, wait, what's happening? Why they did that? I felt almost like I wasn't sure what I needed to be focused on because the movie felt like it was setting up so much. Y'all, I will admit, I might not be the sharpest tool in the shed. Maybe Cuckoo was above my pay grade, but I didn't understand a lot of it. I mean, why was Dan Stevens doing all this stuff anyway? Also, how was he not dead? Did he get shot? Like when he pops up after an ex-cop shot him, I was so confused. Like, wait, is he one of the Cuckoos? I also thought the mutated Cuckoo woman was Gretchen's mom, but then I was like, wait, is that not her mom? Like, y'all, I was just so confused. Which I will say, I appreciated what they did with that whole thing, the reveal that Gretchen's mom that she was calling was actually dead, and how they played that worked well for me. And as much as I did enjoy the third act, there was so much confusion for me. Like, what kind of gun was that ex-cop using? And why did it look like it caught on fire? Y'all, was he an ex-cop? Like, I was just... Also, Gretchen spent the entire movie not claiming her half-sister, literally saying the words, "That's not my sister." Then all of a sudden, I guess because she heard some message of the little sister asking her mom to call her, suddenly in the third act, she's caping for her and she's on this whole, "That's my sister. That's my sister." Then Gretchen stabbing the only person on her side, the only person trying to help her. Y'all, I just didn't understand any of it. It was not making much sense for me. But I love the horror elements. Like I said, that bike chase scene was pretty iconic. I also enjoyed the attack scene when Gretchen is held captive in that room, as well as the entire third act hospital scenes I really enjoyed. It also became more clear to me. I started off confused, but then it came more clear to me near the third act. The time powers the Cuckoos have, because I was like, what the hell is that? Babe, I was so confused when that was happening. When Gretchen was in her room, when the attack happens in the hotel, I just kept being like, what the hell is going on? Like, y'all keep showing, what is this y'all showing pulsating in the person's neck or whatever? Y'all, I was just so like, and then after like the fifth time, I was like, oh, it's like a time warpy thing. Another iconic moment was the showdown between Dan Stevens and the ex-cop in the hospital when the little girl starts running towards Dan Stevens, but then he pulls out the gun and him and the cop both have their guns, and like that music is playing. It all really worked well for me in that scene. I did give Cuckoo a 2.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. I think this might be one of the most ambitious horror movies I have seen so far this year, so major kudos to them for that. I enjoyed a lot of what the director was doing, and I get the ideas behind everything. I just wasn't very sold on the execution, and I just don't understand a lot of it when we're told about like the cuckoo bird and how they lay their eggs in other birds' nests, like a Trojan horse type of thing. You know, so like the other bird can take care of their eggs. Again, I'm just like, okay, but like, what are we doing? Like, what is the point? What do we gain? What does Dan Stevens gain, or Gretchen's dad, if he is in fact in on things, which is just my speculation? The reveal of the mother, I guess we'll call her that, was pretty disappointing. And for a movie that feels like it's trying to be unique and different, the mother creature, her look, again, pretty standard fare, like nothing really to write home about. I do need to have a second watch. Maybe I will get a clearer understanding, but as it stands, while I do applaud the effort, this was more a miss than a hit for me. But let me know in the comments, how did you feel about Cuckoo? Thank you so much for supporting the content, and I will see you in the next one.
Goodbye. Goodbye.